So on this channel, we've already talked about how to charge for your interior design services, how to charge when you are just starting out, and I have even shared my own design fee document with you. But you know what we haven't done? We haven't looked at the actual proposal itself, how it should flow, what information should be in there, and how to send it out to your client. Hello, welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome to spaceforedit. My name is Cynthia. I am an interior designer, and on this channel we talk about all the things that they don't teach you in design school but you need to know in the real world. Today we are bringing back a very popular topic, design fees. That always goes down well. Seems like you always have questions about it, so I am here to give as much as I can. So today's video is mostly going to be a screen recording, because in a minute we will jump onto Canva. Not sponsored by the way, but I don't mind if you want to, Canva. So we will be jumping onto Canva. I'm going to screen record the whole process, so make sure you got your notepad with you, and I'm going to share a template link below in the description bar as well. Before we jump onto Canva, let's just talk about the whole structure of the design fee document. You are taking your client on a journey. Let's say this is the first time that they are actually seeing or hearing in more detail about your work and about your services. So there's actually a lot on stake here. This design fee proposal could be the one that makes or breaks the deal. Okay, you can always go back and talk about it and give extra feedback, but this is the first visual document that's specifically made for your client that they will open up. So you really need to make sure that you have thought through all of the things that you're going to include in this proposal. Obviously you can Google, you can search the internet, you can search the YouTube. Everyone's going to give you all kinds of examples of design fee proposals. Even go into other creative fields and learn from them. But this is the way that I have been doing my fee proposals. It seems to be going down well. It seems to include all the information. So if you want to learn from me, let's jump right into it. This is what I think you should include in your design fee proposal. So you should have an introduction and welcome page. This is a brief introduction into your company, your services. Maybe you mentioned the brief if you already taken it. So kind of like a warm-up, like breaking up the ice. Next, you should break down your design process. So step by step, what do you do? How do you take the brief? What's the next step? What's the step afterwards? When do you review your designs? When do you need feedback? If you are already working as an interior designer, you should already have this. You can just copy and paste it, maybe adapt it to the project if you already know what the client wants from you, if it's not like the full service, so maybe take some steps out. But in general, this should be quite an easy kind of copy paste job. Next thing that is very handy to include is timelines. These are absolutely rough estimates. You maybe haven't even taken a proper brief or seen the site, had a sit down with the client, so you don't know in detail what they want. But at this point, if you are putting together a design fee proposal, you have an idea what the client wants from you. So you are able to match your design process to a timeline. So roughly how much is the concept stage going to take, then how long the review period should be, and then just take it step by step. You can literally have one side for your design process and the other one to have a timeline next to it, and always note down that this is just a rough estimate, but for your client it gives a good idea of how long this process will actually take. And then when we move on to the next step, it will actually show them what you are asking, the money that you are asking for your services. It makes sense because they have seen the process, they have seen the timeline, and they marry the two. And if they really value your services, then there will be no surprises and it will just make sense. Once you've introduced your processes, given a rough timeline, then you can drop your fees, then you can talk the numbers. This is like taking your client on a journey with you. It's a date, it's a conversation. It's not like a here's my fees and that's it, take it or leave it kind of thing. You are selling here, so you need to use some sales tactics. So slowly introduce them into it, and then I would suggest you break down your fees. So maybe it's a concept design stage, design detail stage, procurement stage, on-site, so you can kind of roughly break it down. Don't break it down too much, because then people will start to pick out and, you know, kind of think, well, I don't need that and I don't need this. It's easier if you kind of just break it down in bigger chunks, and then you have the total at the end of the page. A very useful thing that I have found to follow up all of that information is the next steps. So let's say the next 3 or 4 steps. What will you expect from your client sometimes once they've reviewed your proposal, let's say for example they have received the proposal, maybe you expect them to jump on a call with you, maybe you are expecting like an upfront payment, then what happens next and what happens next? When do you actually get onto designing the project? This just gives them a bit of a peace of mind, and they can kind of mentally prepare themselves for what's going to happen. This is just another way how you can kind of welcome them in, you can greet them and introduce yourself to them. So work on that client designer relationship. And then you can finish off the document with a very simple outro, many thanks for your business or something along the lines, and always leave your contact details, your email, your phone number, maybe your social media links, anything that could be useful in case this document gets passed on to someone else who doesn't have your contact details, or maybe it resurfaces months from now and they think, oh, what was that person? I can't see the original email where it came through. This way you are ensuring that it will always be linked to the document. You can even do hyperlinks if you do in PDFs. So that's just like an extra marketing almost that goes with your design fee proposal. Sometimes what I have also done, if the client hasn't worked with me before or it hasn't worked with a designer before, I like to even include some examples of like the design work that I will be producing for them. Because if you imagine if they have never worked with an interior designer before, they don't really know what to expect. So just typing out concept design, blah, 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 doesn't really give them much information. But if you say concept design, la di da di da, and this is a visual of the material that you're gonna get. So for concept design, you usually have mood boards, you have visuals, maybe you have some floor plans. So all of that you can kind of include it, but do keep in mind that that's gonna bulk up the document and you don't want it to be like 50-page long, because people are just gonna clock out and you will get nowhere with it. Okay, that is that. Let's jump onto Canva. Let's go through it step by step, slide by slide. I'll give you some tips and tricks, and hopefully by the end of it you will be able to create your own design fee proposal. Hey guys, so we are going to try to do this at the same time. I don't know, I'm just thinking in case I want to expand and talk to you a little bit more, it always makes sense that you can see my face rather than just stare at a blank screen. So on the screen now you will see that I have the Canva open. Whatever you have on yours, maybe you've never really used Canva before, so you're not going to have this, but I've got loads of like my social media stuff up there already. By the way, if you're not following Instagram, let's be friends. Right, so what we're going to do is actually go to the side here and we're going to click on templates. So all you need to do is just click on this presentation 16:9 and create a blank presentation. Again, you can see there's loads already. It's very tempting, I know, but just trust me, all right? Trust me with this. You can keep this page open for maybe a reference later if you want to come back and kind of explore, maybe get some more ideas, but just remember, don't get too caught up in this. It can really eat up your process and time and all that. You don't need that. You don't have time for that. Okay, so now you have a plain, simple presentation. There's nothing there. So what I like to do first, before I've even like gone into researching what style, what font, what not I'm gonna have, I just like to create like a simple breakdown of the slides. So under here, if you press the little plus button, it just creates more slides of the same thing. So I'm just gonna go for the text tool. This doesn't really need to be any kind of font. You are literally just naming the page and that's all. So the first page I'm gonna do is going to be like a intro / welcome, but more like a cover. Let's call it cover. Yeah, that makes sense. So cover, there will be some photos, maybe just like a big title. We'll go through it, we'll go through it. Okay, I'm just gonna copy this and paste it into the next slide. So the next slide, that is going to be welcome / intro. Then click on the next one, is going to be, should I do contents? I'll put contents on there. So contents is kind of like, if you think of it as a book, as a magazine, when you open it you kind of go over content, so that again gives you a bit of extra introduction. Sometimes if your document is very long, this can be very helpful, but if your document is quite short and simple, and then you don't really need the contents, but we'll allow a space for contents as well. The next one, this is where we're going to break down our design processes. So just design process breakdown. Next page is going to be timeline. So these are the rough estimates that I just talked about before. Next page is going to be fee, design fee breakdown. Then the next page is going to be next steps. And then we're gonna have an outro. Simple, 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 simple. Loves it. A little extra that you could do here with the design process breakdown. You could add extra slides and put like examples. So these could be like examples of the design stages, so concept design, visual examples, da 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 da. So if you want to include that material, then you can always just leave space for it. Okay, what we are going to do now is we will search for templates. Now, maybe if you've done your research before, you already have a template that you kind of want to follow, but if you haven't, then this is the route that you can go. We're going to go templates, and like you can see, I've already got this recently used one. That's the actual one that I use for my design fee documents. I just like the font, I like the chunkiness, and it's kind of like contrasty. That's very me, so I love that. But if you want to, you can scroll through this list. There are honestly so many templates. So let's say we wanted to look at this one, and you can actually see like a breakdown of those slides, and you also get like a color scheme. You can always change your fonts, you can change your color scheme, whatever you want to. We're not really going into that today. I'll leave that up to you. We are more like focusing on the flow of the document. So let's say I'm not really keen on this one. I'll go you know what, I'm gonna go back to like my actual original document. What I'm looking for in a template document is different types of slides, so there's contrast. So obviously visually when people go through presentations, it's a lot better to have that different layout, different contrasts. And there's also elements that I want to include, like let's say for the timeline, do I have something that shows a visual timeline where I can put a text next to it? This is just so much more simpler to read rather than just text and dates and tables and things like that. So if I wanted to, I could just apply all 17 of these pages and they would kind of show up on that bottom row there. But what I can do is just pick one by one and adjust it as I go. So let's say this is the main slide. I can just drag it over, make it the first one. So that will be cover. And let's say this chunky lettering here will be the client or will be the project. So what will we say? I'll say restaurant project. It's very simple, very basic. I should have really prepped this but I should have thought about it, but I'm just gonna put it as an example so you get the idea. I kind of like this to be aligned. I don't know why they've not aligned it. I like things aligned. So like you can see, when you click on this, you can change all the fonts, all the sizes and all that. If you need Canva tutorials, please Google them and search for something somewhere else. I don't have time. You don't have time for this today. So what I would do, have this as the opening page. You can change this image here. It can be multiple images. You can like size them down, add more even, or do whatever really, whatever you like, and change it how you want it. Maybe this one, I think in my proposal, I actually make it all the way across. I can change the color of it, and here I will say, I'll just put like studio space for edit, as that is my freelancing business called studio space for edit. So that's always going to be there as a watermark. So like I said, if the document gets passed on, then it's always like kind of tied in with the document. So there's restaurant project. Here on the side, on the welcome slide, I usually like to put a date and just like a reference to what this document is. So this document is design fee proposal, but what I could do later on is also take this document and use it as a concept design proposal. Later I could put development design, and also this document might have revisions. So your design fees might have a revision A, B, C later on, or as you are discussing it with the client. So this is a good way to just start the document and saying this is da da da, this is, let's actually write it down. So design fee proposal, and what is it today? October something, 17th, no, 17th October, oh, 2022, right? So, and if this was a revision, I could put revision A, B, C, whatever, but this is like the original issue, so I'm not putting anything like that. Design fee proposal, again, align it, do whatever, change the size of it, anything really. We are going through the flow of the document. We're not going to focus on design itself. So we got cover out the way, and what we can do now is literally just delete the page. Obviously I would come back, change the visuals, change the color scheme, whatnot, but now we just need to get moving. So next one is welcome and intro. So I can go through these slides on the side and just pick one that could be good for maybe like an image on the side or in the background, and then some text. So really it's like a welcome message to open up, to break the ice. So I think I've gone for this one. Yep, so really just play around and make it your own, whatever you want to. And here I could say welcome, or not. I can even just delete the slide. And what I would do here is just change it to a lot smaller, type like 16, maybe 15, and just type out whatever introduction it is. Basically, in an introduction, you want to kind of roughly talk about the project, and you want to say, thank you for considering us, or thank you for working with us. In this document, we will be introducing you with the services, with the fee breakdown, la di da. Kind of just roughly talk about what the client is to expect in this document ahead. Again, it's another icebreaker, really just to slowly introduce them into this whole process. So this text over here would be all just kind of blurb for that. Welcome, intro, done, delete page. Next we have content, so I can look through these. This one hasn't got a contents page. If I wanted to, I can obviously create one, or maybe go back and search for a different template, add it in and create a contents page. In this case, I'm just gonna go without it because I don't even think I have a contents page in my own design fees. Because again, I don't feel like the document is long enough for it to have content. I just feel like there's like fluff, you know, unnecessary fluff in between. So design process breakdown, let's have a look what we can use for this. This could be one. So if it's like easy steps, you can just break it down one by one. So this could be concept development. Second stage could be review. No, actually second stage would be design detail. Third stage will be cost plan. And fourth stage will be procurement. I always struggle with procurement. Yeah, procurement and on-site, let's say. So this is also if the client was to come to me and say, okay, I want you to do it all. Can you break it down, all of it? But for you, if they only come to you for concept development and maybe the design detail drawing pack, you can easily just break these down in two and then just introduce the two and then go on to the next slide and really break down each of the stages. So just because I allowed one page for the breakdown doesn't mean that I can't have multiple pages. It's just mentally I had it there that was the next step that I need to look at. So now I want to go into concept development and explain that more. So this text could be just like, this is concept design stage. In concept development stage, we look at the look and feel, we give you an idea what's to come, you know, kind of just describe what the stage is about, but in the next slide we are going to bring down the facts. So even now you think I've had 2 black slides and visually I kind of want something different to pop. So this could be concept design. You can see like this is not my font, so I would have to actually find my fonts. Avenue. There we go. That's my font. Need to change that. Then I would need to change this top thing to spaceforedit. But once you have this document created once, the next time a project comes around, all you need to do is just copy this and adapt it to the new client. So it's not like every time you're going to be starting fresh from this. This is why now you need to really think about it and put some effort into it now. So later on with the next project, this is going to be a lot less painful process. So if we were to break down the concept development stage, concept development, yeah, spelled correctly. So the first thing could be look and feel boards. Look and feel boards. Then I would explain what the look and feel boards are. The next thing could be floor plan proposals. I would explain what the floor plan proposals are, how many options I'm giving them. If you are doing, let's say, a residential project and there's multiple rooms that you are doing, how many rooms you are doing, how many proposals, how many layouts per room or options and things like that. So look and feel boards, floor plan proposal, and what else is in concept? Let's say 3D visuals, 3D visualization. And for me, I would go sketch style and maybe put that even in brackets, just so that people realize that those are not going to be like realistic CGIs, because usually at concept stage, you know, you need to leave the room for imagination kind of thing. So 3D visualization, and again, you could explain that. And if you wanted to show some examples of what these could look like, that could be the next slide. Again, you pick something from the side, adjust it, bish bash bosh, you got it. Actually, if you put as a reference first stage concept development, just because on the previous one concept development was 1, and then you could just copy this and change it to design detail development, break it all down again. But if you want to, you can also just put this all in one page. It really depends how complicated your project is and how much in detail you want to go. I would strongly suggest just try to avoid all the fluff as much as you can. The attention span of people is just ridiculously small, so you kind of want to keep them engaged. Timeline. So for timeline, I actually quite like this one. This is I think this is why I actually picked this template originally. I like that you have this sort of visual representation of a timeline. Once you go through the different templates of presentations on Canva, you will see that there's multiple ways how to show off timeline. You can even just have your breakdown and use it as like a table. So you've got your concept design, all your stages, and then you just have your dates next to it. That is completely fine as well. But I really like sort of this representation. So I would change this to, let's say, timeline, or project timeline actually. So project timeline, da-da-dum. We'll see if we need that. So we are talking about rough idea of a time scale. So today it is October. Let's say by the time the client comes back to us and we've actually established what we are doing in this project, it will be November. So November, pull that out. So during November, we will be doing concept design. And then moving into December, we will be doing detailed design. Oops. Detailed design. And then moving into New Year, January. Why do I keep forgetting to put caps lock on? What followed after that? Cost plan. And so on and so on. And you could just change these around, move them up and down, and obviously add more to it. And then on the side, you can just have like a little explanation of how you treat the timeline. Just make a note that this is only a brief explanation, la-di-da-da-dee. Okay, now design fee breakdown. How do I want to visualize this? I could go along the lines of this. So all of the numbering could relate to each stages, changing the title, break it all down, create maybe like another column over here. And that could be like the numbers that everyone wants to see. So you can really just play around and say, so again, oh, let's change the title. So cost, now design fee breakdown. So you figure out how much you want to charge for concept design, concept development, I think it was. Make sure you use like the same wording throughout your document. So not like in one stage you are talking about concept development, the other one you're saying concept design. So just make sure it's all the same language so your client doesn't get confused. Concept development, you could easily just use the description from here, take that description and paste it into here. So again, your client gets like a little reminder of, oh, what was the concept development stage? But that could be like in a lot smaller print, so it's not like in your face, it's not taking the attention away from the actual cost at the end. That's all you do. You put how much we're going to charge them. We'll charge them 2K. There we go. And then you can just go one by one, create as many sections as you want. But like I said, try to keep it kind of bulky. And then at the end of it, make sure you put a total to it. If you want to, sometimes I also like to put at the very bottom of the page like a little note, very simple and plain, like terms and conditions. So if you wanted to let the client know first payment to be 50% and so on, then 20%, 30%, whatever you want to, just put that in the small print under there so they can have a little introduction to what you will be expecting. This can obviously change, and you can let them know there in the description that you are open to chat about it with them, and just word it in a way that is not as conversational as I have just given you an example of. But so that can be your cost breakdown page. Let's just get rid of these. So we have that, delete. Next steps. So I can see I've got quite a lot of dark pages. Let's look at some lighter ones for next steps. This could be a good one for next steps. And let's just change the title, next steps, and there we go. This can obviously doesn't need to be a person's photo. That can be something like interior design related. Let's see if we can change it. Oh no, we need a photo. So for example, next stage is concept development. For some reason, this has got a black and white filter on it. Yeah, so we'll put that back on. So next stage could be concept proposal, concept design proposal. And if you want to, you can break down what concept design is. Next one could be review or concept design review. Again, you can break it down how long that will take, and then moving on to detailed design. Yeah, let's just move on to detailed design. Okay, and there you go. Okay, very simple. Obviously, you guys create the design properly. I'm just giving you like the basics that you can build on. So next steps, we'll just delete that. And what we have, outro. Let's go back to our template and outro. Obviously here you already have a contact us page. Change this to anything, get in touch, or many thanks. You can change these around. I would like them to be nice and aligned. So you can put in all of your socials, all of your contact details, however you want to be contacted. And obviously if you want to put some examples of your work here, go for it. Everything like the visual side of things, I'll leave it up to you. But today we really wanted to kind of just look at the journey through the design fee document, and this is a very simple, very basic approach to design fee document. Some design companies love to refer to like the official REBA stages. I think that's just like a UK thing, but there's like official stages that you go through, so you refer to them. If that's your vibe for the business, go for it. If your client is very much just a independent, you're a small business, you're a one-man band, then this approach will do just fine. It's a very simple approach to how to introduce your services, your fees, and just start the conversation. All right, well, that's how you do it. That is literally how I do it, and I hope that you've learned something from it and you'll be able to use it for your business as well. One thing that I'd like to mention before we wrap this up is ideally you want to be able to present this document instead of just sending it through, okay, bye, hope this satisfies your needs kind of thing. Before you send it off, see if your client is able to hop on a video call with you. That would be the best thing. If you want to meet them in person, I'd say that's a bit too much. If you were a client, you kind of want to keep a little distance between us just in case things get a little bit uncomfortable. But ideally, you want to jump on a video call and present it, share your screen and go through slides step by step so you can either read through them, add that extra dimension to your personality in your explanation. It just makes it a lot easier for the client to digest the information, especially if this is a big project that we are talking about and your client has to invest quite a lot of money in your service. This is probably the best way. The next best way is to schedule a call a few days after you have submitted your proposal to just kind of talk them through it, really on the phone, very relaxed and not too kind of pushy. So if your client doesn't feel comfortable jumping on a video call with you, going through detail, then at least you have something booked in that they know they need to review it, have a think about it, and you'll be on the call, you'll be there asking them, what do we think, where we are, is this something that is alongside the budget, you know, and all those kinds of things. So either a video call or a phone call booked in a few days after you have submitted the proposal. Okay guys, that's it from me today. Hope you found this useful, and if you did and you want to say a little extra thanks, there's a few ways down below how you can say it. Obviously, whenever you can, share and show your love for the content, because it really helps with the whole YouTube algorithms to push the content out to more people, and yeah, it just gives back to me as a creator. Thanks for watching the video and I'll see you next time.